Hello, everyone, and welcome to Know Your Shit podcast, where our knowledge and pride in what we do drives us to be excellent. My name is Josh Cadillac, and once again, I'll be in the driver's seat as we learn how to stop chasing paychecks and how to start closing for life, how to build a business that we can be proud of and is successful. And we learn how to do that by talking to other entrepreneurs, other successful people to see how they got where they are. We have a great show for you today because we have an amazing guest, Mr. Thomas Trotman. Thomas, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thanks for having me on your podcast. I love the title already, you know. And I think a guy called Cadillac who is in the driver's seat, that's a good one.
I'm glad you caught that. Most people miss it. Yeah, no, it's totally in there. So, Thomas, why don't you tell all of our listeners what it is you do?
I help entrepreneurs, business owners, and CXOs to get more success and more fun by elevating their clients. Because when you elevate your clients, you elevate your success. You know, and all that through the science of ethical persuasion.
Love it. What got you started doing
that? I mean, we don't have enough time for that. No, let's be more serious. Yeah, it's everything. My career and so on got me to one day become a certified neuromarketing instructor. You know, neuromarketing is implementing neuroscience into marketing and sales. Did that with the first neuromarketing agency in the US. I was one of the business partners in Europe for German, English, and French-speaking countries, and did workshops and so on. But each time something was missing, you know. And even though neuromarketing is targeting the human brain, it was missing humanity. In fact, people in the workshops were learning stuff to improve the marketing and the sales of the company, but were not getting something for themselves. So that's why I said, okay, enough with neuromarketing. I'm going to create the ethical persuader system, where in fact you first learn something about yourself and for yourself, because ethical persuasion is getting from people the decisions you want while they make the decisions they need. And that's because we target the brain, inside the brain, the part that makes decisions. So that's why I created the ethical persuader system, and I help, as I said, business owners, entrepreneurs, and CXO to use this knowledge to get more.
Sure. So what I hear you saying, and maybe I'm wrong, tell me if I'm getting this wrong in general. You see that you know what they need. It's getting them to understand and get what that you know that they need. They need it. They just don't realize they need it, and you getting them to make that decision. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, sort of. In fact, based on your product and services, on whatever you are selling or trying to sell, could be yourself trying to sell something to your partner, you know? It also works that way. I mean, everything we do is driving decisions. We spend most of our time getting decisions from people, you know? So, but once you know how to really drive that decision, where the decision is coming from, it makes your life way easier. And it also generates more recurring clients. And you have 70% chances to sell to someone who knows you, who likes you, versus 5 to someone who doesn't know you. So I'm lazy. I prefer 70%.
You know what, Thomas, you are preaching to the choir. That is literally something I talk about. Like in my business, real estate, agents make cold calls rather than just calling the people they've already done business with and just saying, hi, how are you? You know, like, how are things? Staying in touch, being in contact. I'd rather talk to them. Frankly, the subset of human beings that could like me in the first place is such a small group. Why would I go out and look in the rest of the world when I already found this group that can tolerate me? You know, like, why? It's amazing.
You're right. You're absolutely right. As I teach my clients most of the time, is in fact, if you split your market, 2% need you now. And very often they know you already. 2% need you now. So target those 2%. They will then bring you the 38 next percent. And 60% couldn't care less about what you are doing. Unfortunately, as you say, because they represent the big part of the pie, everyone runs after the 60% and wastes time, money, and resources on that.
Yeah. I prefer a target-rich environment. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Um, so, what do you like best about what you do, Thomas?
Being with other human beings.
Hmm. All right, good
You
enough.
know,
That that makes sense.
I call myself the happy tribes builder. I need to put
Hmm.
people together and make them smile because they learn something. So I create that tribe during workshops, during online trainings, during coaching, and then I let them go. But for that time, I have created a happy tribe, and that's what drives me.
That's wonderful. I mean, leaving people happy. Happy is such a nice place to be. So many people, when you look at it,
Yeah,
it's one of the things about you walk down the street, look at the faces of people, how many miserable looking people there are. And
yeah,
if we can inject a little bit of happiness into the work that we do, man, what a better world we would have.
yeah.
So, where do you think, in looking back, Thomas, put on your rear view glass? I'm not going to ask you to take off your existing glasses because I love the frames. Beautiful glasses, sir. But if you were
Thanks.
to put on your rear view glasses for a second, where do you think all the success has come from for you? What would you credit your success
Uh,
from?
Failing first
Okay.
and never giving up and never giving up, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm reaching now a stage where things are starting to look great, and it's the first time that I hear from people in my family, and especially on the side of my wife, where they say, "Shit, we never thought he would last that long." You know, what? How is it possible to believe in yourself that long?
Yeah. No, I
So
mean,
yeah,
it's about
it,
persistence.
it's a good feeling.
Yeah. No, no, absolutely. It really, really is. What do you think in your makeup, Thomas, makes you good at what you do?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, the fact that I enjoy what I'm doing, I
Yeah, that's got to
genuinely
help.
love what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm super happy because I'm part of those lucky people who do what they love. And by
Yeah.
doing that, I spend time with people. I meet people. I share things with people. I travel and so on. So it's cool. It's cool. It took me a long time to get there. It took me the time to develop all my systems and so on. But no, it's a huge luck to be able to do that.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever experienced, Thomas, but I've been surprised at times by things that are part of my work that I thought I wouldn't like to do that have turned out to be tremendous joys. Like I was concerned whether or not like I get bored of it or I wouldn't want to do it anymore after I start. And like you want to be consistent, so but you take a shot, you try it, and then those things want to be tremendous joy. Literally right before we did this, I was on what was supposed to be a 1 hour mastermind session with some agents that I work with, about 250 agents that we have in the group. And man, that call went at least 5 minutes before we were done here. And I didn't even realize the time disappeared because I was just having such a good time talking with them, helping them, trying to take and make their business better. And I was initially, when I committed to it, I was concerned that this is going to be one of those things that, like at the end of a busy week, oh God, I got to take and get on. And no, it's been pure joy. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, those things that surprised by joy is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, because somehow your brain finds again a reward and gives yourself a shot of dopamine and endorphins. It's free drugs. And when I smile, I get a shot of endorphins, so I auto drug myself, and I make you smile. So I give you free drugs, and that's also what drives me. The more people are going to smile, the more our children will smile, and maybe one day our children we live in a world where people are smiling. I'm sorry, it may sound completely utopic with all the crap that's going on in the world nowadays, but would those
Yeah,
delicious
yeah,
political assholes, sorry for my French, smile,
sure.
maybe they would see the world in a different way.
A
That's
little
my
bit.
poetic moment.
Yeah, we take what we can get at this point. So Thomas, you alluded to it, and I want to ask you a little bit more about it. You talked about failing a lot, the broken road, the mistakes, all that stuff. How
Yeah.
do you manage yourself? How do you deal with unmet expectations? Because the folks that we're talking to are entrepreneurs, right? They're going to deal with disappointment. Everybody always sees these folks at the end when they're traveling first class on an airplane and going to Bali, and like they see that, but they don't see all the crap that went on before. What is it that you do? What's your process to keep yourself in the fight and swinging away?
Having an objective, you know. Uh, I'm also a 10x certified performance business coach with Grant Cardone, and we coach a lot of entrepreneurs, of business owners, and so on. And it's very interesting to see that a lot don't have a precise objective. Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
want my company to make that much. I want this, but what do you
Yep.
want? You know?
Oh my God.
Oh, I want to be happy. Okay, that's super cool, but how do you measure happy? You know?
Yeah.
I
What
want
does
to be
that mean?
successful. How do you measure success? You know, put a number on it. You know, I want to reach this year so many millions, and next year it will have to be that much. You know, and make it unreasonable, because your brain will switch in a different way, different attitude, different approach, actions, as Grant would say. Uh, you become a different person. You and if there is something that makes you fall on your nose, then you just stand up because you know the objective is there, you know? And don't run after shiny bullets. I mean, we've all done it, you know? We all thought that, okay, A is not working, let me try B. Oh, there is C coming by, but I'm going to try D instead. And then you look like an idiot because yourself are confused and your potential clients are confused because what the hell are you doing, you know? No, be
You're not giving
consistent. I mean, you said it, be consistent.
Yep, you're not giving yourself guidance as to what you're pursuing, so you don't even know when you get there. I mean, the
Yeah,
quote from the quote from John D. Rockefeller is always a good one for that, which is, how much Mr. Rockefeller is enough, a little bit more. Like he was addicted to chasing it, and he didn't even know what it was, so he was chasing something that was completely left undefined. Very successful guy. But at the end of the
mm,
day, how much happier could he be if he knew what it was and then could celebrate actually getting it? Right? That's
yeah.
that hard fought that hard fought fight, the joy of winning that hard fought fight is something that I wish more people got to do, but they keep moving the goal line on themselves and it makes it
Yeah.
so hard.
Yeah, and
All
they
right, that's
accept to downsize their goal.
yeah,
Let's say I haven't made 1 million. 500,000 is okay. No, the objective is 1 million. You don't make it. Keep going for it. You know,
absolutely. What's
don't let
your way?
and never ever take any advice from someone who hasn't already reached where you want to be.
Yeah,
You know,
no, that
that's
makes sense. Absolutely. What would you say? What's a tool? I mean, obviously, you've been doing this a while. You've developed a lot of tools. I know you have coaching. What's a tool that you might be willing to offer to our listeners here that you think would help them?
If they want to get quickly to decision making in the brain, the first thing to learn is something that I love is something I try to teach to people is to use what I call the you language. You know, the part of the brain making the decisions is a survival tool. It's called the primal brain. Has been scientifically demonstrated that's where all our decisions are being made. As a survival tool, it cares about one and only one person on earth, itself. So the
Yep,
problem is when you try to get someone to make a decision, you're trying to do that with your own primal brain, which
yep,
wants to talk about yourself, your products, your services, your brand, your company, la la la, all those things. But in fact, the brain in front of you cares only about one thing. It's make me great. You know,
yep,
make me great. That's, by the way, that's the title of my next book. Make me great. So use the you language. Talk to them about them. Try to do that the next email you write instead of hello Joshua, I'm Thomas, I'm sending you this email because I want you to know la la la. No, hi Joshua, you are going to learn how you can do this, how you can do that by because you are getting this la, la, this thing and this and this and that. It's the you language. But it sounds very easy like that, but it's so complex. I mean, once in a workshop, I asked people to do that exercise. There is one of the gentlemen who is writing on a sheet of paper the next email he was supposed to write. So with his pencil, he writes you, and everyone had to share. He stands up, he takes the sheet of paper with him. He stands in front of the audience and starts, I am going to, you know, read the
Yeah.
piece of paper, read what you wrote. So it's
Yeah.
complex, but it's a very powerful tool. Try it.
You
I
know,
promise you, you will see differences.
I do something kind of a little similar, but not to the extent that what you're talking about. But I could see that, like, I have the tendency very much to write very no nonsense emails like, here's where we are, this is what we got to do, we're moving on, right? And so I always go back to the beginning and try to put a nice salutation, like, hope this finds you well. And then I try to end it with something that's, uplifting to the person so that, the message in the middle is interpreted in a better way. But yeah, no, pitching it in reference to them and making it about them, that makes good sense. I'll definitely take that. It's a great tool. Thank you. Um,
You're welcome.
so yeah. Uh, let's let me ask you this. What do you see when you look at the market, when you look at the world, what do you see as the opportunity in the market today? It's a question I like to ask everybody because everybody's looking at different aspects. What do you see as the opportunity in the market today?
Whatever you do, I think there's a huge opportunity to go back to being a human being.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
because we have. I mean, I had a chat earlier today, and we have so much access to social networks where people
Yep.
think they are connected. You're never connected, you know? You're only connected when you go back to something human, which is a face as we're doing here. It's not optimal, but at least it's human. We see each other, we hear each other. We can I mean I can see your body move, I can see your face move and so on. So I understand what's
Absolutely.
going on in your brain. And do it. I mean, when you pay attention to people, I mean, I love that example because it happened to me last week. I was traveling. I went to the airport. There is this long security check line and so
Oh,
on. And there was a sign with an acronym on it. And I didn't understand what it was meaning. So the guy who was orienting us in the different queues, I stopped and I said, can you tell me what that acronym means? Because I've seen it a few times. I still don't know what it means. He says, I don't know, sir, what it means. Oh, yeah, sorry, because it could be fun. Says, yeah, maybe
yeah.
something we say, I don't know. So I start to move and he says, stop, sir, come with me. Here is the fast track lane. Go there.
Yep.
There is no one, you will get faster. Just because I took a few seconds of my time paying attention to him. And then we asked to the security check lady, she explained us what it meant. So he learned something, I learned something, and she taught us something. You had three happy people just by
Absolutely.
being human.
It's an idea that I actually have a class that I've written. A section of the class is about how lonely and disconnected human beings are. Because for me in real estate, obviously, that's my customer I'm talking about. I need to anticipate my customer, what they're like and what their needs are. If I'm going to meet those needs well, understanding that they're more disconnected and more lonely than they've ever been in the history of the world
Yeah.
is an important part of this. And I talk about our friend, I believe in Germany, the handy, for us here, the cell phone, our cell, right? Um, that gives us the sense of human connection.
Mm.
Like, it
Yeah.
fills up our need for it. Like, our appetite gets filled up. And the analogy that I use is like, if you ever go to the movies and then go to dinner afterwards, when you go to the movie theater, what you want to do when you get a little hungry, so you take and you get popcorn. And so you watch the movie and you're eating the popcorn. And then you go to your restaurant to eat, and now you can't eat because you're filled up on the popcorn. If you ate nothing but popcorn, you'd get
Yeah.
sick and die. The popcorn fills up the need, the appetite for food, but it doesn't give you the nutritional value you need to actually be healthy as a human being.
Absolutely.
Everybody's getting worn out with social media, feeling like they got connected, when in reality, they're starving themselves to death from what human beings need, which is
Yeah.
is human
Yeah.
connection, activity.
Yeah.
And so,
There is something very funny. I'm trying each time I connect with someone on LinkedIn, because that's where I'm mostly active, is I say, okay, what about we jump on a virtual cappuccino? I call it that way. Let's get on a virtual cappuccino call or Zoom. And most people say, yeah, why? Just to have a talk, I want to put a face and a voice on that profile. We may never do business together, but at least I will remember you, you may remember me, and we have something like two human beings.
Yeah,
And it creates amazing calls and conversations.
absolutely. No, people connect. People need to connect. It's good for the soul.
Yes,
I mean, how it
we
is.
are we are a social species. We exist and we grow because we are a social species. If you look at human evolution, if you look at the human body, we had zero chance of survival. We are the smallest, we are not the strongest, we are not the fastest, we have the thinnest skin, we don't have long teeth, we don't have claws. I mean, we have nothing for us except that we are a social tribe that can grow and we have that brain plasticity for learning and sharing and so on. So that's what made us become the world leaders or whatever you want to call that. But that helped us, So we should not get rid of that because that's who we are.
Absolutely. No, no, it's that's the reason why solitary confinement is such an intense punishment. Taking and isolating someone is one
Absolutely.
of the cruelest things you can absolutely do to them.
Yeah.
It crushes the soul.
And look,
And
when they send people up in space, they are 24 hours, but 24 hours connected to someone on Earth because they
yeah,
know that alone up there, you go ballistic very quickly. So they have to talk to someone. People who they just finished the world tour with sailboats, solitary sailing and so on. But they are all the time on the radio with their teams and so on. Now they are on social networks and so they communicate all the time because
I can tell you a little bit of I'll just tell you a little bit of a hilarious story, which is that the first time I ever traveled internationally, I decided to go to the Ukraine because whatever, it was complicated, but I got a good deal. I could fly first. So I was over there and I had an interpreter that took me around throughout the course of the day, but that was the only person there that I was with and the only person that spoke English. I was there for a week, and I got to say, toward the end of that week, I was getting very desperate. Like I couldn't turn the TV on and even hear my language. Like I was so isolated. It felt like I was going stir crazy, and I'd never experienced that before. It was a very, very enlightening experience, just how social, because I don't really consider myself a super social person, especially not at that time in my life. Much more so than
uh-huh.
I'm much more social now. But man, not being around my tribe, man, it was very, very off-putting, more so than I thought it would be. So,
Yeah,
I
we
want to
need our
ask you this.
tribes.
Yeah, we do, and it's good. It's good to have your people. It's good to have the folks that get you, that understand you, that appreciate you, that respect you, and adding to that, that interaction is so important for us. What do you think, Thomas, is the most important thing you've learned in the process of doing all that you've done?
I think it's never giving up.
Mm,
No. Uh,
yeah,
I use that from time to time. I haven't really uh, worked on it, but I try to call business owners and entrepreneurs Kangals, versus poor Chihuahuas. Chihuahua is a very small, noisy little dog, and the Kangal is the dog with the strongest bite in the canine world. So we Kangals, once we get on the bone, we don't let it go. And
yeah,
it's to get that mindset, don't let it go. You may have to do something that's very uncomfortable, but as your objective is there and that you have bitten in your objective, you go do it. I mean, I'm also like you, I'm also having another business in real estate. So I have to go talk to people. And
yeah.
sometimes you don't want to, but then you kick yourself in where you think, and you go and you talk to the first person, and it works well, and you go to the second, and then the machine is started. But it's because you don't let go.
Yeah. No, and that tenacity is such a thing, and frankly, when you see it in other people, these folks that just won't accept no, even animals. I mean, I don't know if you've ever read about the
Yeah,
history of English bulldogs. They used to use these small dogs to fight bulls, and the dog would just latch onto the ring in the bull's nose, and it would hold on till the bull died of exhaustion. I mean, or the bull killed the dog. I mean, that level of commitment from an animal so much smaller. It's not about size. It's about the size of the fight inside of you, not about
Yeah.
who you are, how you are. It's such a cool thing. Um, this little segment here, Thomas. What I like to do is kind of let people get to know a little bit more about you. So it's kind of a lightning round, kind of a fast, easy questions of not necessarily easy, but like your first take on these. What would you say you're
Okay.
most proud of in business that you've accomplished?
Uh, the thing that made me most proud, I would say it's getting my first client, you know.
Mm,
When you create
yeah.
your own thing, your own system, and you have someone who says, "Yes, Thomas, come and teach me." And it's also the scariest one because they
Oh,
pay you a lot of money and they want to be serviced. And you stand in front of all those people and you say, "Now, my friend, it better works."
yeah, yeah. No. It's a thing. Like do all this preparation and you're pretty sure it's really good, but you don't really know until you take and put it out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, man. I write and teach a lot of classes, and like you're done with it. And I can remember when I was teaching I did a 2-day class. I was teaching for the first time, and I finished the second day. And one of the guys came up to me, and he's like, "I've been an agent for 40 years, and nobody has ever done as good a job as you just did." And I remember calling the lady up who helped me to take and get it approved for the state and all this kind of stuff. And I said to her, "You know something? We might have something here. We might have something here. And
It might work.
this might work. It might be okay." And that's turned into, the all the international speaking that I do now is from that one event and being willing to take and put the risk and be terrified out of my mind. Oh my God, I can tell Thomas going out there the first time and not knowing if I had enough. I don't know how many slides you need to teach for 8 hours. I mean, how much is it? I was worried I'm going to get like through 2 hours and be out of stuff to talk about. Like, what do you do then? Just it was nerve wracking as all get out. But yeah, man, I know exactly what you're talking about. So similar question, but what are you most proud of in life that you've accomplished at this point?
That my sons are seemingly going to be pretty decent men.
Awesome, brother. There is no better
Mm.
testament to him than the quality of the people he raised. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
One piece of advice you would give our listeners.
Trust in yourself.
All
Don't
right.
let other people tell you otherwise. You are the only one who knows who you are and where you're going to go. So don't let them take you down. Never, ever.
Yeah, absolutely. You fight till you can't fight anymore, and then you fight a little further. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, Simple, easy question, usually hard to answer, though. One book, if you had to recommend one book besides your book that is coming out, what's the title again for your book for our listeners?
Make me great.
Make Me Great. All right. Besides Make Me Great, what is the one book you would say to our listeners? You got to read this book.
Um, I'm hesitating because it depends on the science side or the not so science side. But the one book that currently helped me a lot is the one of my partner Grant. It's the 10x rule.
Okay. Good stuff.
Mm.
Favorite movie of all time, Thomas?
The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I have never had anybody use that one. Love it. There you go. All right. Now,
I
here's a
don't.
pretty cool.
I'm not sure people remember that movie, but that's the best movie ever. If you have a twisted
All
mind
right.
like mine.
Yeah, yeah. No, that definitely helps. It definitely helps. Famous person in history that if you could, you'd want to meet.
It will be a guy called Pierre Latécoère. He's a French guy. He is
Okay.
somehow the guy who created the first airline. And I love his one of his sayings, which is, "We made all the calculations, and it's impossible. That's why we are going to make it."
Yeah.
Love that.
I love Yeah, man. There you
You know,
go.
it's the rational part and then the guts.
The guts. Absolutely. It's when I coach guys and they're being whiny, sometimes I tell them, God gave you a set of nuts. Now you got to wear them. Go out there and have some balls. Um,
Yeah.
all right, similar question, but a little bit more personal. What person from your past would you want to sit down with and have lunch with today if you could?
What would be my dad?
Yeah, me too. That's
Yeah.
what I would have said.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what he thinks.
Yeah.
What one piece of advice would you go back and give a younger version of you? What did younger Thomas need to hear that you wish you could tell him?
Network. Do network with people.
All
Network
right,
with people. Yeah.
love it. If you had to be stuck in a foxhole, taking fire, getting shot at, who would you pick to have in that foxhole with you? Who's the person you trust to have your back?
My wife.
Always a good answer. All right.
And she's
What do
not
you
in
do
the
to?
room.
Yeah, no. But this is good. This is good. Absolutely. What is it? What do you do to unwind, Thomas, when you're not out there making people happy and coaching folks and doing all the great stuff you do? What do you do to unwind?
I spend time with my horse.
Okay, see, look at this. We're learning stuff. Didn't know about the horse connection at all. Good stuff. What kind of horse is it?
It's a retired racehorse, a thoroughbred. So it's a bit nutcase, just like me. I mean,
Uh,
the both of us found ourselves, and it's a very special relationship. And the advantage with horses is that they are so sensitive. You cannot think about anything else than
yeah.
focusing on the horse. You know? So it's
No,
woo.
it's a huge, powerful animal. And my father always told me the racehorses were nuts. I mean, like one would have a parakeet. The parakeet had to be in his stall, otherwise the horse would freak out. They're such interesting animals, as you said, very sensitive. All right, so I know you have the entrepreneur gene, disease, whatever you want to call it, which means there's always something rolling around going on up here that's the next project that you haven't really even told anybody about, but you're thinking about that you want to do. What's next for you, Thomas? What's the next thing rolling around up there?
So at the moment, it's more reaching an objective. You know, is I don't know how I'm going to reach that objective. It's an ambitious one. It's a 10x one, of course. So I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there. Yeah, I like something that I took from the law of attraction.
Mhm.
Someone says, let's say that as I'm living in France, let's say that example, I'm living in the southeast of France and I want to go to the Eiffel Tower. So of course, starting from the south of France, I don't see the Eiffel Tower. I know it's my objective. And the lights
Right.
of my car will light a few hundred meters. Each time I move forward, I see a few hundred meters further, you know? I may not take the
Yeah.
direct route. There may be some curves and so on, but I know where I'm going. I don't know how I'm going there. So
Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I
that's the
know
idea.
that's where I want. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I like that. That's very poetic, but I love it. All right. Last question I have for you, Thomas. Where can people find you?
So people can find me on my website, which is happy-brains.com, or they look for me on LinkedIn. It's Dr. Thomas Trotman with Happy Brains, and usually I'm the bald guy with the brain behind him, because the brain is
There you go.
my my basis.
Love it. Thomas, it has been very seldom I have enjoyed talking to someone as much as I have you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing what you know with us.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for the invitation, Joshua.
It's my pleasure. And to all of our listeners, thank you guys for spending your time with us and for learning what Thomas has to share with us. I want to remind you, as I always love to do, there's never a good excuse not to know your shit. Till next time, guys.